Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News with me, Katura King. Now, my next guest was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts, and she spent most of her time around food from a young age. Doyin Adio spent her formative years assisting her mother in preparing meals for Thanksgiving, barbecues, and dinner parties. Living in Boston and interacting with individuals from different cultures and backgrounds helped shape Doyin's appreciation for ethnic foods as well as modern American food. In 2008, she enrolled in Johnson & Wales University, Providence, Rhode Island. At her school, she gained a wealth of information about the food and beverage industry and the sacrifices that chefs and other hospitality personnel make to meet the needs of customers. As she says, it's a tough job, but if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Now, most recently, she's worked as a culinary chef instructor at the Culinary Academy and has taken on a food and beverage managerial role at the George Hotel in Lagos, Nigeria. Now that she's moved back home to Nigeria, her aim is to fuse American and West African food together seamlessly. Welcome to the show, Doyin.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so this is really exciting for me because you have brought a spread. What's a breakfast show without breakfast, huh?
Yeah.
Now, let's start with you. Before we delve into the food, which we'll talk about in a minute, how did you, we spoke about the fact that you were trained, if you will, under your mother's tutelage whilst you were a youngster, and then you went on to actually study culinary or cuisines in school. What drove your passion for that?
Well, I just really like food, and food is just my passion. I like eating. I eat anytime when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm angry. I always turn to food, and
so you're one of those comfort eaters.
Yes.
So you get annoyed by someone and you grab the nearest cookies, creams, yes, whatever it may be. Amazing. So when exactly did you realize that you could actually make money as a chef? You can develop your passion for food and get people to actually purchase it from you?
To be honest, I think what really inspired me was when I started working at the Culinary Academy. I think before I started working there, I was working as a chef in 4 Points, and I went back to America, worked for Sedesco. Then I said, let me come back to Nigeria and see if I can break into the food market here. Started working at the Culinary Academy with Chef Tien and Chef Alex. And, Chef Tien and Chef Alex, they're very innovative. They do a lot of food events. And then I said, okay, we don't really do breakfast here. Let me see what I can do with breakfast. And I started having breakfast events. And I invited my friends, my family, and pretty much anybody that would walk into the restaurant. And I'll be like, oh, hi, my name is Doyin. I tell them what I do. And they would come over. And also because I do a lot of contract work. So I do a lot of training for people that have restaurants and hotels. And then, I would just, get people, you say, oh, I heard about you did something at this place, you did something with this person. Let me see for myself. And,
that's where it all came from. And all the money, too, I'm assuming. Okay, so what is the difference between being a chef and being a food enthusiast?
Being a chef and being a food enthusiast is something very different. A chef, studies the production of food. They study in regards to customer service, food safety and sanitation, preventing foodborne diseases and illnesses. They learn about different types of cuisines from different parts of the country, in like maybe America, because for example, in America, we have the Northeast cuisine, we have the Southern cuisine, we have Cajun cuisine. Then, of course, we have like Caribbean cuisine.
I can imagine you picked up a lot of those cuisines from studying at JW University.
Yes, studying at JW University, and also because Boston, Massachusetts has so many colleges and universities. So you're going to see a lot of Haitians, Jamaicans, you're going to see a lot of Caribbeans. And when you look at the Caribbean profile, there are different types of Caribbean food. And then, they have a lot of Africans, West Africans, the Togos, the Liberians, the Nigerians. So there's things that bind us together, but there's still different things that make the food different. It may taste the same, but the ingredients may be a little bit different. The presentation is different. So that's what you learn about working as a chef, going to school as a chef. You learn how to, prevent food poisoning, alcohol poisoning.
And we're going to delve into a lot of these theories later on during our take. So you spoke about the fact that in different cuisines, you might have the same sort of base ingredients, but then it comes out a different way, or you name it a different thing. And one of the dishes that you've actually brought for us today is, or well, the ingredients, I should say, are ingredients for a typical Nigerian dish called Acara.
Yes.
So explain that to me.
Okay, so Acara is a bean-based dish. And of course, you can find it in places such as Brazil. And in Brazil, they call it Acarajé. And the reason why you can find it in Brazil is, of course, through the slave trade, a lot of people from West Africa were brought to Brazil, and the dominant religion and culture that was maintained there was the culture from the Yoruba tribes. So you see them practicing Orisha and all these Odudua things, and you can see things like Acara there. So for example, they make the same.
So tell us, before you get into the history of it, tell us exactly what it's made of, because we can see that on screen now.
All right. So Acara is made from your beans, your black-eyed peas or beans, and then you have your onions, you have your garlic, and for example, if you want your ginger, you blend it all together in a blender.
So that's what's in the container underneath with the green lid?
Yes.
Okay, and what's that on top of that green lid
That's
container?
mackerel.
What's that
Mackerel
for?
fish. So you can use it for a sauce, like a fish sauce.
Oh, so it doesn't go inside the Acara?
Well, if you wanted to, you could put like a dry crayfish.
Okay.
Or depending on like your creative instincts, you can like make the Acara, open it up and put some mackerel on top as a garnish.
That sounds amazing. Oh my goodness, I'm starving looking at this spread. All right, so let's go back to you for a bit. Where did the concept for Breakfast by Doyin come from?
Well, everybody loves breakfast. And who likes to wake up at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning to make breakfast? It would be really nice if you could just wake up in the morning and have somebody make breakfast for you in bed. Or, you come to work and breakfast is already there. So, working at the Culinary Academy, all of us, come into work early, and we don't really have enough time to sit down and eat a good meal. So I was like, what, Chef Tian, how about we do a breakfast event here? Why don't we do it like a regular thing every Saturday, every Sunday? And she's like, okay, go ahead. Let's try it out.
Wow.
And, that's how it all happened.
Amazing. So tell me about some of the challenges that you face, because I can imagine that coming from a place like America, where the supermarkets are stocked with every conceivable item of food that you may potentially need for any dish, to going to a supermarket over here where you might be looking for specialty ingredients and you may not be able to find it. What are the challenges, or some of the challenges that you faced in creating Breakfast by Doyin and holding it every weekend?
I think that was part of the reason why I started doing fusion, of not just concentrating on, not just, Nigerian food, but like West African food. So because you could take one ingredient and use it to make different things that you would find within West Africa, or different variations of one food. So, for example, in Nigeria, we eat fried plantain. In Ghana, they eat kelewele, which is,
I love that. That's plantain with ginger powder. Yum.
So just using the same ingredient to make a different variation. And then, of course, everybody wants their pancakes, their waffles.
The chicken and waffles that we can see on screen now?
Yes.
Scrumptious. What is that red sauce on top of it?
That I used black currants and raspberries to make a berry compote.
Oh,
so instead of having your syrup, something a little bit healthier and something a little bit different.
Amazing. I like that idea. I might have to steal it. Now tell me what you love the most about being a chef.
Eating.
I knew that was going to be your answer, because I've been eyeing this food on the table and I cannot wait to sample it. So, but what else, aside from the obvious?
Well, okay. Everybody loves food, so people are always going to be attracted to, oh, you're a chef, oh, okay, what's your name? I want to be your friend. It's easier to, break the ice with people.
Do you know what we call that in Nigeria? An FFF, a friend for food.
Yes.
So tell me exactly about the experience of the transition, because I know a lot of people experience culture shock coming from a westernized country and moving to Nigeria, or any African or Asian country in general. Now, what did you have to do food-wise to acclimatize to the terrain here?
Well, food-wise, learning how to go to the open markets, learning how to just, be like, okay, this is Nigeria, and, sometimes it's stinky in the market. Sometimes you have to learn how to haggle.
Yes.
You have to know where to buy certain ingredients. And you have to develop your taste buds. You have to taste some weird things. Like, I don't know why people like snails, but they do.
They're delicious. What do you mean? An African delicacy.
Live snails are disgusting. And then knowing how to incorporate, funny things with Western food. So you have to really, really open your mind and be adventurous. And sometimes you have to go to all these remote places and see how they eat and see how you
all these remote places, you said?
Yeah, make the Nigerian food or the West African food more refined and more attractive.
Amazing. And we mentioned that you're also the food and beverage manager for one of the most upscale hotels in Lagos called the George Hotel.
Yes.
What exactly is involved in that experience or in that role?
Well, it's working as a food and beverage manager, one of the managers there, I work in the restaurant and in the bar, and I also help with all of their events. So anytime they have something with food, they call me or they call Mr. Williams, and we have to know how to appease the guests, because sometimes they're like, oh, I don't want what's on the menu. I want the chef to create something for me.
Right.
So we have to be able to develop menus, to people's taste profiles. We also need to work on customer service, customer retention, quality control, because you don't want to come into the restaurant today and you had 5 pieces of shrimp today, and then when you come in tomorrow, it's like 3 pieces of shrimp. So quality control is very important, especially in Nigeria. Taste, that also includes taste, making sure, that people are following specific recipes, making sure that, they're not adding 1 teaspoon of sugar today and then 5 teaspoons of sugar tomorrow.
So I can imagine that ties in greatly with your own personal role as a chef for Breakfast by Doyin. So for those of our viewers that want to keep up to date with you and find out when the next event is, how can they do that via your social media?
Well, of course, they can follow me on Instagram, Breakfast by Doyin. And another Instagram page is Oladide, Oladidee. And hopefully I'll be having another event maybe next month or in 2 months' time. But I'll definitely, update my profile, let people know what's going on.
Amazing. Alrighty, well, you are going to talk us through these dishes a little bit later, and we're going to enjoy them for breakfast. Thank you very much for joining us, Doyin. I'll see you later on in the show.
Thank you.
Time now for a short break on the morning show, but when we return, I'll be speaking with my next guest. You can call him the captain of cuisine. Don't go away.